And have you ever experienced glamping? A glamorous version of camping, that is. I have, and I can tell you I'm more of a glamper than a camper. And with glamping becoming one of the trendiest things in domestic travel, let's follow our Shanghai reporter as she straps on her boots and visit one of Shanghai's top sites. Her trip, though, begins with a little trepidation.
I am 30% excited and 70% worried because the last time I was in the wild, I was in high school, and it was because my school organized a trip to learn the farming basics. So we'll see what happens today.
The site is by Dianshan Lake and about an hour's drive from downtown. The moment I arrived, I felt overdressed.
I feel like an idiot. Everybody else has their sports gear. I'm the only person who's bringing a suitcase.
Fret not, even for an awkward camper like myself. A caretaker is with you the entire trip. Mr. Zhang Yi has a slew of icebreakers up his sleeves. He suggests I begin with water sports. In the order of skills required, there's kayaking, canoeing, stand-up paddling, and sailing. I chose to begin with level 0.
This is all like going in the wrong direction. Ooh.
I rejoice to see that I was not the only person who's struggling. However, just 10 minutes later, I leveled up to canoe.
Okay, I'm totally getting the gist of this. I'm going on an adventure.
Another hour later,
the next Olympian is born! Yes!
Back to camp, where you set up your own tent.
With the help of our trusty Mr. Zhang, we've set up this beautiful tent.
And the last nail.
Oh. In.
You're not sitting down for even a minute at the glam site.
This is it, my Lord of the Rings moment. Whoa, this is awesome!
At dinner time, you start your own fire with charcoal, but it was not hot enough to cook anything for another hour. By the time I got to eat the barbecue, I started to get it. The idea of camping is to strip away all the comforts of urban life where everything comes at the tap of a screen. But with glamping, you're not completely on your own. There's an abundance of activities, help, and amenities for those not ready to truly embrace the wild. Expect to see mostly young adults and families with small children. As the weather cools down in the fall, the site can be packed with people who like to think of this more as a lifestyle than a formal travel experience.
We rented everything on Taobao. We are doing barbecue. We brought our dogs. We will chat, play games. Work is stressful in the city. Here, you can get away from all that and really unwind.
I don't think young adults like ourselves would think camping is too rough. Plus, you get to see the sunrise.
You're not traveling, you're just hopping over for a weekend. Think about it. On weekends in downtown Shanghai, you either go shopping or to a restaurant, and you're still stuck on Nanjing Road or those neighborhoods where you work. And this is an easy getaway. In Western countries, we see when the economy gets to a certain level, people start to get out of the city. And this is starting to be the trend in first-tier cities here in China.
On travel agency websites, the most popular glam sites around China are in the mountains in Zhejiang and the deserts in the northwest. Sleep in a tent or a fancy cottage dressed up like a hotel room with AC and private shower, and experience a package of activities like hiking and bushwhacking. Glamping sites quietly popped up in China in 2019, then the pandemic suppressed travel abroad, and glamping took off. Annual sales on Trip.com in this category have increased close to 300% since then.
There's also RV glamping, in addition to the outdoor hotel-like camp. Around Shanghai, you'll find most of them in Moganshan and Anji. People come from first and second-tier cities. They swarm over after seeing posts on social media. You're not at a tourist attraction. That is not nature. As the economy develops, people want to be in the wild and know it, like following an environmental scientist to learn about the trees and the terrain.
And back at the camp, it's 7 p.m. after showering. And this beginner is faced with the ultimate challenge, trying to fall asleep in a tent at 34 degrees.
I think any kind of summer night with no AC is going to be scary business for a lot of people, but in here, after a while, you come to be at peace with the fact that this is the wild. And after some time, you can calm down and read a book.
Out in the wild, one dozes off to the smell of charcoal and grass and the sound of outdoor movies in the distance. Then, at 5 a.m.,
Spending last night in a tent was both warm and damp to begin with, and then it started to go cold, and there was always this clammy feel on the skin. But when you see that, it's probably worth it.
When was the last time you saw the sunrise that was not obscured by buildings? It is time to feel the charm of Glamp. 孙思琪 ICS for CGTN, Shanghai.